Good morning, students. In the last class, we discussed the concept of overlapping of atomic orbitals, and also we discussed the types of overlapping and types of covalent bonds, that is sigma and pi bond. So, during the discussion of those concepts, we concluded the statement overlapping of atomic orbitals of bonding atom results the formation of covalent bond in molecules. Molecules means here sometimes homodiatomic molecules are present, heterodiatomic molecules are present, polydiatomic molecules also present. Whenever homodiatomic molecule or heterodiatomic molecules taken into the count, only the two atoms are present, it is very easy to explain the overlapping of atomic orbitals results the formation of covalent bond between those atoms. And when we consider the shape of those molecules, that is homodiatomic or heterodiatomic, mostly it is found to be linear because of two atoms. But when it comes to the polyatomic molecules, if more than two atoms are involved in the formation of a molecule, we may try to explain, we may be succeeded how the atomic orbitals are overlapped. But when it comes to the geometry or shape of that polyatomic molecule, how the valence bond theory can explain, that is our today topic. That means the formation of a covalent bond in homodiatomic molecule or heterodiatomic molecule or polyatomic molecules is results by overlapping of atomic orbitals. In case of homo and heterodiatomic molecules, the shape of a molecule is obviously linear because of two atoms. But in case of a polyatomic molecule, what is the geometry of a molecule? How this valence bond theory can explain so the geometry of polyatomic molecules, that is our concept. So, you know very well, one of the polyatomic molecule, CH4, methane. In the methane molecule, the central atom, carbon. Carbon atomic number is 6. The electronic configuration is 1s2, 2s2, 2p2. So when we write the diagrammatically the ground state electronic configuration of this carbon is carbon Z is equal to 6, 1s2, 2s2, 2p. Subshell means it has 3 orbitals. In the 1s orbital, the 2 electrons are present with opposite spin. In 2s orbital also, 2 electrons with opposite spin. So according to Und's rule, first each orbital can accommodate with 1 electron. This is the ground state electronic configuration of carbon. In the ground state of electronic configuration of carbon, only the 2 electrons or the 2 off-field orbitals are present. These unpaired electrons are there. If this is taken into the count, only how many bonds can form the carbon? Carbon can form the 2 bonds. That means suppose if you are considered the bonding atom is hydrogen, it may form CH2 or CCl2 like that. CH2 or CCl2 bond is formed. And the bond capacity of carbon is what? 2. If you are considered the ground state electronic configuration. But in reality, the bond capacity of the carbon is 4. To explain that one, we are using that new concept, that is promotion concept. We need to promote an electron from the 2s orbital to 2p orbital. So when we promote the electron from the 2s orbital to the 2p orbital, that is higher energy state, we get first excited state electronic configuration, carbon, that is Z is equal to 6. This is called first excited state. The 1s orbital will be remained same, 2s orbital and 2p orbitals. Here the electrons as usual present, but here we are shifting one electron from here to there, so that here one electron is left. Once it is promoted to here, so symmetrical arrangement, the 3 unpaired electrons are present. In the first excited state of carbon, so the 4 orbitals are off field. All the 4 orbitals are participated in the bond formation, which will be resulted into the bond capacity of carbon is 4. That means now it can form like the whatever we write the example CH4 or CCl4 like that. Okay, fine. So in our example, in the formation of CH4, the carbon is providing the 4 off-field orbitals. Out of the 4 off-field orbitals, one is 2s orbital and the remaining 3 are 2p orbitals. You know very well in this one is 2px and 2py and this is 2pz and this is 2s orbital. These 4 off-field orbitals are overlapped with the 1s orbitals of 4 hydrogen atoms. So this is hydrogen. Hydrogen you know very well. Hydrogen is Z is equal to 1. So the electronic configuration is 1s1. So this orbital, 1s orbital is overlapped with the 4 orbitals. So here 4 hydrogens are there, 4 1s orbitals are there. Each 1s orbital is overlapped with the 2s and another second 1s orbital is overlapped with 2px. Third 1s orbital is overlapped with 2py. The fourth orbital is overlapped with 2pz orbital. Here I would like to say one point. All the 3 2p orbitals are mutually perpendicular to each other or right angle to each other, because one is oriented along the x, another one is oriented along the y, and the third one is oriented along the z. So that's why all the 3 axes are mutually right angle to each other. That means so they are maintaining the 90 degrees angle. The 2s orbital is spherically symmetrical. Okay, fine. First here comes to so these 2p orbitals are overlapped with 1s orbitals of hydrogen atom. So s and p overlapping takes place, which will be resulted into the formation of which bond? Obviously the sigma bond, because s orbital is involved. S orbital is involved in the overlapping, that is always resulted into the formation of sigma bond. Okay, just for your understanding, I will draw the diagram. So one s orbital is overlapped with this is 2px, let us say, and here 1s orbital is overlapped, which will be resulted into so for example 2px and here 1s orbital. This is of which one? Carbon. And this is of which one? Hydrogen. This is carbon and this is hydrogen. Okay, fine. Then the 2py orbital is perpendicular to this one. Say, just for our understanding, I can draw the 2py orbital. This is 2py orbital. So now this 2py orbital is overlapped with the 1s orbital of hydrogen atom. This is 1s orbital of hydrogen and this is 2py, and say for example this is 2px, right? So now here again the sigma bond is formed. Here also the sigma bond is formed. So these 2 orbitals are belongs to the carbon, these 2 are belongs to the hydrogen. Say here carbon is attached to the which one? Hydrogen. Here carbon is also attached to the hydrogen, because x and y mutually perpendicular to each other. So obviously I write like this. Now, so what is the HCH bond angle? The HCH bond angle is clearly, it is 90 degrees. But in reality, in experimentally found that what is the bond angle in CH4 molecule, because you have already learned in the valence shell electron pair repulsion theory, HCH bond angle is 109.5 degrees. But according to the concept of overlapping of atomic orbitals, here what is the bond angle? 90 degrees. So this is could not explained by the valence bond theory proposed by Hitler and London. Because actual bond angle is 109.5, but if you are consider this overlapping concept of atomic orbitals, what is the bond angle is found to be 90, because x orbital, 2px orbital is overlapped with 1s orbital, 2py orbital is also overlapped with 1s orbital. So both are resulted into the formation of sigma bond between carbon and hydrogen, carbon and hydrogen, carbon and hydrogen. Then what is the bond angle here? So the bond angle is obviously 90 degrees. This is the bond angle is 90 degrees. But experimentally, what is the bond angle? 109.5. So that is could not explained by the valence bond theory proposed initially. Not only this CH4 molecule, even you can take in the ammonia molecule. You know very well in the ammonia molecule, what is the central atom? Nitrogen. So the nitrogen electronic configuration you know very well, Z is equal to 7, the configuration is 1s2, 2s2 and 2p3. So in the 2p3, all the 3 orbitals filled with 1 electron. So these 3 off-filled orbitals of off-filled p orbitals of nitrogen overlapped with 1s orbital of hydrogen atom. So this 2p means here 1 beta 2px, 2py, 2pz. So these 3 are mutually right angle to each other, x, y, z directions. So obviously this x is overlapped with hydrogen, 2py is overlapped with hydrogen. What is the bond angle between the again NHH? The bond angle is again what is it? 90 degrees. But what is the bond angle in ammonia molecule? In ammonia molecule, the bond angle HNH is 107 degrees. Okay, if you are taken into the count, that is the concept of overlapping of atomic orbitals, so which will be resulted into the formation of a covalent bond, that is here 2px orbital is overlapped with 1s orbital of hydrogen, 2py orbital is overlapped with 1s orbital of hydrogen, then we get a bond like this. These are mutually perpendicular, just like in the previous case. Here also the bond angle is 90, but in reality what is the bond angle? 107. That is could not explained. So the concept of overlapping of atomic orbitals. Not only this one, you can also take the water molecule. In the water molecule, what is the central atom? Oxygen 8. So what is the configuration? 1s2, 2s2, 2p4. Yeah, in the 2p4, so one of the orbital is paired, the remaining 2 are off-filled orbitals are there. So these 2 off-filled orbitals are involved in the bond formation. For example, say here 2py and 2pz. So y and z are mutually perpendicular to each other. One is y in this direction, z is in this direction. So here orbitals are like this and it is like this. So simply here the hydrogen atom is overlapped with 2py. So the another hydrogen atom is overlapped with another 2pz. Then what is the bond angle is here again? These are mutually perpendicular because this is a y axis. Suppose it is a z axis. Then what is the angle between y and z axis? Again 90 degrees. But in water molecule, what is the bond angle? That is, you know very well, in the according to valence shell electron pair repulsion theory, you learn 104.5 degrees. But if you are explaining based on the concept of overlapping of atomic orbitals, what is the bond angle? 90, but in reality 104.5. So that is could not explained by, so the postulates initially proposed by the valence bond theory, that is a concept of overlapping of atomic orbitals. So to account the geometry of a molecule, so to explain the bond angles, okay, the 109.5 in CH4, 107 in NH3, 104.5 degrees in water molecule. All these are the examples of polyatomic molecules. So to account the geometry of polyatomic molecule, the new concept was introduced. So by the Pauling, that is we said in the beginning, the valence bond theory was further developed by Pauling and Slater. So this is the development. So that is based on the concept of which one? Hybridization. This hybridization concept can try to explain the geometry of a polyatomic molecule. The initially proposed valence bond theories failed to explain the geometry of a polyatomic molecule. So what is hybridization? What are the characteristics of the hybridization? What are the conditions of the hybridization? How we can explain the geometry of a polyatomic molecule based on the hybridization? Now we have to go and discuss. According to Pauling, to account the shapes or geometries of polyatomic molecule, this hybridization concept was introduced. What is hybridization? This hybridization defined as the process of intermixing of orbitals of slightly different energies so as to redistribute their energies, resulting in the formation of a new set of orbitals of equivalent energies and shape. This is called hybridization. So, to account the shapes of polyatomic molecule, what is happened here generally in the case of hybridization, the atomic orbitals which are slightly different energy, they are mixing together. As a result, they are equally distributing the energy. Then they are hybridized to form a set of new orbitals. These new set of orbitals are equal in energy and equal in shape. So that process is called as hybridization. So simply, which orbitals are involved in the hybridization? That is a question might be raised. So to know that one, we need to know the characteristics of the hybridization. The first one is, generally the first characteristic is the number of hybridized orbitals formed is equal to number of the orbitals that get hybridized. That means if two atomic orbitals which are almost slightly different energy are hybridized together, then the two hybridized orbitals are formed. If three atomic orbitals are involved in the hybridization, three hybrid orbitals are formed. Four atomic orbitals are involved in the hybridization, four hybrid orbitals are formed. That means the number of hybridized orbitals formed is always equal to the number of atomic orbitals involved in the hybridization. Second one, the hybridized orbitals are always equivalent in energy and shape. That is defined in definition very clearly. So whichever the atomic orbitals are slightly different energy, they are mixed together. Then so they are redistributing the energy. So that means whatever it is excess or less is there, they are distributing equally the energies. Then they can form a new set of orbitals. That new set of orbitals are always equal in energy and shape. There is no difference between one hybrid orbital to the another hybrid orbital. The hybridized orbitals are all more effective in forming the stable bonds than the pure atomic orbitals. So whenever the hybrid orbitals are involved in the overlapping for the formation of a bond, that bond is always said to be very strong or more effective than the pure atomic orbitals involved in the bond formation. And the fourth one is, after the formation of these hybrid orbitals, so these hybrid orbitals are directed in space in some preferred direction to have stable arrangement. Therefore, the type of hybridization indicates geometry of the molecule. After the formation of these hybrid orbitals are oriented in a particular shape. So why they are oriented in a particular shape? That particular shape is said to be most stable arrangement of the hybrid orbitals. That's why once we know the hybridization of the molecule, it is very easy to predict the geometry of a molecule. So these are the characteristics of the hybridization. The first one is the number of hybrid orbitals are always formed is equal to the number of atomic orbitals involved in the hybridization. The second one is whatever the hybrid orbitals are formed after the hybridization, they are always equal in energy and shape. And the third one is Whenever the hybrid orbitals are involved in the bond formation or in the overlapping, that will be resulted into the always the strong bond or stable bond than the pure atomic orbitals. Then the fourth one is, after the formation of these hybrid orbitals, so these are directed in a space, so to have a most stable arrangement. That means all the hybrid orbitals are oriented in a particular geometry and in a particular shape. So that particular geometry or the particular shape is always said to be the most stable arrangement of that particular molecule. So once we know the hybridization, that's why it is easy to predict the geometry of a molecule. These are the characteristics of the hybridization. Next we move toward the conditions for hybridization. So the conditions for hybridization, the first one, it is very important to understand the concept of hybridization. Only the orbitals present in the valency shell of the atom are hybridized. Which atomic orbitals are participated in the hybridization? Simply, the atomic orbitals which are present in the valency shell of the atom are participated. That means, for example, carbon is there. The carbon Z is equal to 6. The configuration is 1s2, 2s2, 2p, x1, 2p, y1, 2p, z0. You know very well, with the help of the ground state electronic configuration, it is not possible to explain the bond capacity of the carbon. Because if you try to explain with the ground state, it is very clearly said that the carbon bond capacity is 2. But experimental, what is the bond capacity of carbon is 4. That's why we need to promote an electron from the 2s orbital to 2p orbital. Then 1s2, 2s, so by promoting the electron 2s1, 2px1, 2p y1, 2p z1. This is the first excited state electronic configuration. First excited state electronic configuration. What is the valency shell? Second shell. So in the second shell, how many orbitals are present? 2s orbital, 2px orbital, 2py orbital, 2pz orbital. All these four, 2s, 2px, 2py, 2pz, the four orbitals, one 2s orbital, three 2p orbitals are involved in the hybridization. So how many hybrid orbitals are formed? 4. Because what is the characteristic of hybridization? The number of hybrid orbitals are formed is always equal to the number of atomic orbitals are involved in the hybridization. How many atomic orbitals are involved? So 1, 2, 3, 4. That's why 4 hybrid orbitals are formed. Here we write 4 and so 1 s orbital and 3 p orbitals. We write as 3 p orbitals as sp3. So the hybridization name is, what is it? sp3 hybridization. So that means here only the orbitals present in the valency shell of the atom are hybridized. In the valency shell, these 4 atomic orbitals are present. These are involved in the hybridization. Second point, the orbitals undergoing hybridization should have only a small difference in the energy. The orbitals which are differ largely in energy cannot take part in hybridization. So how should I know whether they are differing energy in large quantity or small quantity? So that is, it is very easy to predict, because no, the energy depends upon the principal shell. If the principal shell is changes, the energies also will be changes to a greater extent. Okay, for example, here in this case the carbon is there. So second. S and p orbitals are slightly different in energy, but all are belongs to the same shell or not? Yes. So that's why all are almost equal in energy. So that's why here we can say all these 4 orbitals are involved in the hybridization. Suppose I write here one orbital like 2p and 3s is there. The 2p and 3s, okay, so it is belongs to the second shell, it is belongs to the third shell. So these two are not equal in energy, so they are largely different energy. That's why these never are involved in the hybridization. You know very well in the atomic structure, you studied it. So how to calculate the energy. So, and also you can draw the Euler diagram. By that one you can write the energy order of the different orbitals, which are the same in energy, which are different in energy. Whether they are different in energy, large quantity or small quantity, we can easily predict it. So with the help of the rules. So here also you need to remember only simple point. In most of the cases, not in all the cases, in most of the cases, if the principal shell is changes, Okay, so that is clearly indicates there is a large difference in the energy. The principal shell is same even though the orbitals are different. Okay, so they are almost similar in energy. That is the second one. And the third one, promotion is not essential condition prior to hybridization. So in the case of a carbon, before I am involving the hybridization, I am promoting the electron from the 2s orbital to 2p orbital because to explain the valency of a carbon 4. But in the case of ammonia molecule, in NH3 molecule, what is the central atom? Nitrogen. What is the atomic number? 7. What is the configuration? 1s2, 2s2, 2p3. In the 2s orbital, the 2 electrons are paired and 2p3, 1, 2, 3. Around the nitrogen atom, how many bonds are present? 3 bonds are present. So to explain the valency of 3, we need only the 3 atomic orbitals. So that's why these 3 atomic orbitals are involved in the hybridization. There is no need to be promote the electron. So that's why in all the cases there is no need to be promote the electron. Wherever it is required to explain the valency of the central atom, there only we need to be promote the electron from the one orbital to the another orbital. And the fourth one, it is not essential that only off-filled orbitals participated in the hybridization. In certain cases, even filled orbitals of valency shell participate in the hybridization. Always what we feel that during the bond formation, only the off-filled atomic orbitals are involved in the bond formation. But in the case of hybridization, the atomic orbitals are even filled. Okay, with 2 electrons, they can also will be participated in the hybridization. So because what is the condition is there? The orbitals present in the valency shell of the atom are hybridized. So it was not clearly mentioned here. The orbitals he was mentioned, but does he mention off field or full field? No. If any orbital is present in the valency shell, whether it is off field or full field, that can be participated in the hybridization. See here in the case. So what are the orbitals are present? 2s, 2px, 2py and 2pz. So out of these 4 orbitals present in the valency shell, so 3 are off field, 1 is full field. Even though it is full field, because of the presence in the valency shell, it is also involved in the hybridization. So that's why here 1 2s orbital, 3 2p orbitals are involved in the hybridization. 3 plus 1, 4 sp3 hybrid orbitals are formed. So because 1 s orbital, 3 p orbitals, 4 sp3 hybrid orbitals are formed. Out of the 4 sp3 hybrid orbital, 1 sp3 hybrid orbital is containing which one? Paired electron. The remaining 3 hybrid orbitals are containing the unpaired electrons. So that is he was saying. It is not essentially that only off-filled orbitals are participating in the hybridization. In certain cases, even full-filled orbitals of valency shell also participated in the hybridization. So these are the 4 conditions for hybridization of atomic orbitals involved. So the first one is only the orbitals present in the valency shell of the atom are hybridized, and that orbitals undergoing hybridization should have the only small different energy. And the third one is promotion is not an essential condition prior to hybridization. It depends upon the valency of the central atom. Sometimes it is needed, sometimes it is not needed to promote the electron. Fourth one, it is not essential that only off-filled orbitals participated in the hybridization. In certain cases, even filled orbitals of valency shell also participated in the hybridization. So this is about the concept of hybridization and characteristics of hybridization and conditions for hybridization. Once we are thorough on these characteristics and conditions of hybridization, it is very easy to understand the geometry of a polyatomic molecule. So in the next class, we can explain the different types of hybridization with suitable examples by using these characteristics of the hybridization and conditions for hybridization.